Good day, everybody. It is Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should go ahead and subscribe so you are notified when I post a new RWBY video. You guys should also join the Discord server if that is something that interests you guys. You guys can talk to other RWBY fans, and this video was brought to you by my patrons over on Patreon, so thanks to them very much. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, you can hear about it at the end of the video, but thank you to the patrons that we already have. So, this video will contain incredibly minor spoilers for RWBY Before the Dawn. If you do not know what RWBY Before the Dawn is, it releases today. You guys should read it. The novels are really, really good. We have RWBY After the Fall and RWBY Before the Dawn, so go buy them, go read them. I really, really like them, and it is going to be very, very minuscule. If you want to go in totally blind, leave, I guess. Like, totally blind. If you don't want to know anything, do not watch this video, come back later. But if you don't really mind about spoilers like these and you're more concerned with spoilers about like the plot or the villains or the plot twists, like the surprises, right? We're not talking about any surprises, all right? This is a very, very short flashback about Velvet, solely about Velvet. Does not affect anything else in the book except for her character development, but basically it does not have like spoilers about the plot. It's not gonna be like, oh, Velvet's father is secretly a villain, that's why they brought him up, right? It's nothing like that. It is very, very, very minuscule, right? So if you're cool with that, let's go ahead and talk about it. But first, I feel like I should preface this by saying, I know that you guys think I have a problem because I have made a lot of family relation theories, okay? I made one about the black-haired woman being Cinder's mom. I made a video about Jacques being Cinder's dad. I made a video about Watts being Cinder's dad, okay? I get it. It's been a lot. But here's the thing, okay? This is the one that I can say with certainty is like 99% right. If it is wrong, I will be very, very, very surprised. But this has compelling evidence. So you guys have to listen to me, okay? You guys need to trust me because this time it is actually like serious. I think that this man in the photo, this brown-haired man, all right, that kind of has the dad bod, I think that he is Velvet's father. His name is Will, if anybody's curious. Will Scarlentina, and he is an Atlas engineer, right? So that's one, and you guys may be thinking, well, Cal, there's lots of engineers in Atlas. It's fucking Atlas. Okay, but let me finish. He's an Atlas engineer. He has a military escort, okay, so that gets us into a kind of spicy zone, if that makes sense. And Velvet says that he is helping to design top secret technologies for Atlas, okay? So that's also very important, because I get it. There's engineers all over the place in Atlas, but he has a military escort. Who else has a military escort? Penny and then, like, Ironwood. Like, nobody else is that, like, important to have a military escort when they go over to Vale, right? And we've seen like some military escort situations in volume 7, but that sort of implies that Will is kind of important. If they're like, yeah, you can go see your daughter, but we're not gonna let you out of our sight, right? Like, I feel like that's very, very, very important information. And the fact that he's working on top secret Atlas technologies, designing top secret Atlas technologies. What is a top secret Atlas technology? Penny, obviously. And so you guys may also be thinking, but Cal, does the timeline match up for him to have been working on Penny, right? Because let's say that he is working on secret Atlas technologies, okay? There are tons of secret Atlas technologies, I'm sure, and maybe you're right, all right? But here's the thing about the timeline, okay? So we know that he was supposed to only be gone for like a couple months, and like a month has turned into like a long time. That's basically what Velvet says in the book. And so she is visiting him right before Beacon, right before she's off to Beacon. And what happens, like, when they're at Beacon? Like, Penny happens. Penny goes to Beacon. So what if the reason why they're like crunching so hard and this man can't go home is because they need to prep Penny for the Vital Festival? Because it makes perfect sense in the timeline that if he is doing anything, that is the top secret thing he's working on. He is working on Penny. And you guys may be thinking, but Cal, Velvet is a faunus. Like, how could this be, right? Like, if he is a faunus, like, how could he have, like, you know, gotten so high up in the ranks? Like, I get Ironwood's a cool guy sometimes, but, you know, right? But here's the thing. Velvet says, and I feel like this is super important, Velvet says she has her mother's ears, right? Her ears over here. Her ears, right? Her mother's ears, but she has her father's creativity and imagination. Now, what does that say to me? Right? I don't want to talk about faunus genetics in this video. I really do not want to talk about, like, the complicated process of, like, what makes a faunus and stuff. But we know that there are only two possibilities, that they're both rabbit faunus, or one is human and one is a rabbit faunus. That is how you would make another rabbit faunus, right? Velvet, right, has her mom's ears, but doesn't mention that her father is also a faunus, right? And I feel like that could be a point of contention in their relationship, because, not to get into it too much, because I want to sort of withhold the details that aren't important to the theory so you guys can be surprised when you read the book, but there is like a little bit of divorce talk going on in here, okay? He basically left the family to go to Atlas to work on this thing, and Velvet seems to have some resentment. She's like, he doesn't have time to be a good father and a good husband. He's too important for that, right? So there's some things going on. You know, he's like, Velvet, like, I don't think your mom and I see the same way anymore. Like, there is like legit like sit down divorce type conversations going on here. But could one of the reasons be is because she will not leave Vale? Like, the mom won't leave Vale, because you would think that possibly, right, they could just move to Atlas and then Velvet could attend the Atlas school. I don't know if he would be able to, you know, stay with them anyway, because he's working on this top secret stuff and he has a military escort, but you have to sort of wonder, like, could that be a factor in the relationship breakdown, is that he has disregarded, like, her feelings, like, sort of as a faunus, not wanting to go to Atlas and put her daughter through living in Atlas. And so I think that with all that being said, it makes a lot of sense that this brown-haired man, human man, as far as I can see, he's a human man, is the scientist in the photo with Pietro and the other scientists. Like, if he's important enough, right, to work on secret technologies, he should be working on Penny. And here's the last thing. Here's, like, the cherry on top, okay? He calls up James, right? It's sort of like implied that he calls up James and is like, hey, James, can you get my daughter some hard light dust? And then James is like, yeah, sure, for Velvet to sort of make her camera creation, like, into a reality. She didn't have enough dust before, but he's like, hey, James, can you do me a favor? And, like, it's even one of those things where, like, he's like, James is gonna love this. James will help you out. And Velvet's like, who the fuck is James? And he's like, oh, that's Ironwood, you know? Like, we're on that kind of level. We're on that kind of tightness, you know? Him being like, hey, James, can you do that, right, is him giving Yang her arm, right? Because who does he do that for? Like, he works closely with Crow. Crow is Yang's, you know, biological uncle and all that sort of stuff. And so I can imagine, like, James was like, hey, Crow, don't worry about it. I'm gonna send Yang a new arm because, like, me and you were like this, right? Like, who else is like this? Will and James, apparently. So that's what I'm sort of thinking, is that the people that are close to James, right, call him James, and the people that worked on the scientist team also call him James. So wouldn't it make sense if Will gets a little special treatment, gets a little hard light dust for his daughter because he's helping out with Penny and all that stuff? Like, I think that that could indicate that they have, like, a close bond, and, like, the closest people to Ironwood would be the people, like, scientist-wise, would be the people working on the Penny project. And so now here's the question, okay? Is this going to fucking matter? I don't know, because here's the thing. I'm, like, 100% sure that this was done intentionally, because somebody had to, like, draw that picture. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but somebody had to purposefully design that to include Watts in it, to include Pietro in it, right? And so I don't know if they were just like, just put in these two and then make whoever you want, like, scientist-wise, because there's 3 other scientists that we haven't seen, or, right, because the book would have been in development, like, the book would have been being written while Volume 7 was. They were like, hey, you know, I made this backstory for Velvet, or I guess we made this backstory for Velvet, like, let's tell one of the animators to make a brown-haired dude that could be Velvet's dad, so it ties into the book and people realize it and go, oh, right? And so I feel like that is possibly what would have happened, because if it didn't, this is a weird-ass coincidence that there just happens to be, like, a man that looks vaguely like he could be Velvet's dad. You know what I mean? He's not a red-haired man, he's not a blonde man, he's not a bald man, right? He is a brown-haired man that could be Velvet's father, like, within the age range. So if that was just totally random, that would be kind of weird. So I'm assuming that, like, either, like, E.C. Myers made the backstory and Miles and Carrie okayed it, or they all came up with it together. Like, Miles and Carrie knew that this was something they wanted for Velvet, and they passed it along to the person that drew the picture. They were like, hey, please include, like, a brown-haired, like, father-type bod man. Can we, like, just put him in there, right? Because, again, if not, that would be a little strange. Will this ever be important? I don't know. I think it's a nice little Easter egg for the people that read the book, but I don't know if her father will be relevant. Like, Volume 8 is taking place over, like, 2 days, and the only scenario I can see is, like, a bunch of scientists get captured by Salem, or, you know, Ironwood is like, hey, do you guys think that we could hack the door to the vault? Right? Do you guys think that we could, like just blow up the door to the vaults instead of using magic. And like we see Velvet's dad and like the other 3 scientists in the picture that haven't like betrayed him, because like technically Pietro has betrayed him and Watts has also betrayed him, right? So maybe we'll see those 3 people, and maybe Velvet's dad will be like, oh my god, you guys are Team RWBY, my daughter talked about you, I can't do this, Ironwood, and then he fucks off, you know what I mean? I can't hack the relic for you, I'm siding with Team RWBY or something, right? I doubt it, but that's the only way I can see something. Like, I feel like the only time we're gonna hear about Velvet's father is if he's captured, or if he's dead, or if he's in some brief scene with Ironwood trying to do relic-related activities, alright? I don't think that we're gonna get super into him being Velvet's father. I think maybe he'll just introduce himself as Will Scarlatina, and it'll be like, see? Like, that's Velvet's father. And maybe that'll be a thing. But I don't think he's gonna be like a big deal. I don't think he's gonna be a major character in RWBY Volume 8. You know what I mean? I think that he could be in one of those like scenarios where he's like captured, or he's dead, or something like that, and maybe they'll just mention that to Velvet, like, hey, your dad helped save Remnant from Ironwood in Salem, yay, right, when they go to Vacuo. But yeah, that is basically all from me, guys. Do you think that this theory is true? Do you think this guy is Velvet's father? Do you guys think that we will ever see him in the show? Remember that you guys should join the Discord server if you guys want to talk with us about RWBY, and check out the Patreon if you guys want some cool rewards, support the channel, and all that sort of stuff.